Clark must make a decision that could have dire consequences. Hello, everybody. I'm Steve from VALHARTV, and today I'll be reviewing Superman and Lois, Episode 11. So, Episode 11 starts out with young Clark following the crystal from his ship from when he crash landed to the Arctic. And he gets frustrated because, he doesn't really know what to do with it, and obviously throws it in the ground, just like he's done in all the other origin stories. And we get to see, this time, how, what I call, lovingly call the Cave of Solitude is formed. Now, even the fortress from the Christopher Reeves 1978 Superman is better looking than this. I've had mixed feelings about it. Like, sometimes it's kind of cool, kind of what they're doing, but at the same time, it doesn't even look like the Fortress of Solitude at all. I mean, the 78 Superman movie has a way better looking one. And that one doesn't even look that good. To be quite honest with you, in the first two movies, it really doesn't look that good. And, yeah, this one is just, they could have done so much like they did with the Supergirl one. The one in Supergirl that Superman lets her, basically use because she's she's his cousin, is by far, I think, the best one out of all of them. So, but nope, you don't get that in this show, and it's terrible. I mean, it really is just terrible, for this. But we get to see that, and we get another look at his origins as well, from the time he basically went there as a young adult to getting hired at the Daily Planet, meeting Lois, and a lot more, So we get a more in-depth look at his origins in this. And we get some really awesome, iconic scenes in this as well that I thought were fantastic to watch. I mean, again, I would do this. The scenes, especially like you see right here, is the iconic moment where he does his first interview. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. We're getting like a ton of iconic moments in this. And as we go on, Clark starts to realize that there's something wrong. And he realizes that Edge is doing something, and he ends up having to confront him about it. And that leads to Tal, which is, or Edge, you want to call him. We'll just keep calling him Edge. Basically, tells him, hey, either join me or suffer the consequences. And it's, of course, Superman, so he's like, no, there's another way to do things. And, of course, the bad guy is like, there's never any other way to do anything. And it's great. And there's, in this episode, it is heavy on the monologuing. So I thought that was interesting because, again, it's a cliche that they've used in everything for, I don't even know, the longest time. It's always the bad guys that monologue to give the good guys time to do what they have to do. And it's great. And they use it in this. It's a little more subtle, I think, but it's still there. You know what I mean? It's still there. And we get to see Jordan in this episode have some really good moments too. He gets to spend more time with Sarah, and they actually really connect in this episode. And Lois and Kyle even get along. We got Kyle, on the other hand, who's really been not, he hasn't been very nice to Lois because Lois has come in and said, hey, look, Morgan Edge isn't a very nice guy. And Kyle's like, look, he's trying to do what's right for the town, and we need this, we need this income. We need his business, and he was blindsided by Edge as well. He thought he was going to be helping out and doing good, and he didn't really care what Lois had to say. So we get to see them actually get along, in this. And I thought that was really good. I really did like that. But again, the biggest surprise in this whole episode for me was Jordan. It was Jordan stepping up and using his powers for the first time. And I mean, he uses them without losing control, without having to lose control. Like he did on the football field where he was like, oh, I'm going to lose control of my, of my heat vision. And Clark is like, just let it out, right here in my hands. Just let it out, So he uses his powers without having to lose control to use them. So this is like the first time we actually see this. So I really, really thought it was great, to be honest with you. I do kind of like how they did things in the comics a little bit better with Superboy. But I think this is actually a really good way to do it as well because it grounds it in more of reality. It's basically he has to really kind of learn as he's going along. And he's trying to get the use of his powers versus like his dad, like we've seen in this episode, where he follows his crystal up north and then gets trained in the Fortress of or the Cave of Solitude. And, that's a huge difference. Clark is trying to let the kids have a life. He can't just take them up there and be like, oh, okay, here you go. Now, train for, 10 years until you're an adult and you're done. He's, Jordan's got, he's a kid. He's got his own life. He's going to school. You can't just pull him out, So he's got all this going for him. And then he does that. And I thought it was, again, fantastic. Now, this episode ends on a great cliffhanger. And I mean, it was great. We see Superman confront Edge for a second time, but he does something. And we end up getting to see Edge's Cave of Solitude. We get to go inside and actually see it. And we do before, too, before the ending. There is a scene where we do get Edge's backstory as well. So we get more of his backstory in this as well. But we also see him and his Cave of Solitude get formed as well. And we get to see a little bit of inside of there and what happens. But the end of this I thought was great. I really did. I liked the cliffhanger. The effects in this were good. They've been consistently good throughout every episode, and in this one there's no difference. We get to see some guy try to set Superman on fire in his origin story, and we also get to see again like the iconic moments of where Superman meets Lois for the first time. Superman saves the kid from the falling car, with his original costume on from the older comics with the underwear on the outside, and he says, "Thanks, my mom made this for me." And it's really like these moments and that line that were amazing for this too. And I do like how they explored it in depth for this show. And a lot of people I know have complained in the past about every single show and movie rehashing the origin story, but I kind of like it at times. Like in the movies, maybe not so much, especially how they do them, but I really don't complain about it because I do continue to like this, like seeing his origin stories. And it's explored in different ways by these different shows. And again, I think Tyler Hoechlin is amazing as Superman. And the acting in this episode is great. Again, the origin story of Clark and Lois meeting and falling in love. And Edge. And the fact that Edge is out to get his own way. Because he feels that he has to do what he has to do to bring people back. And we even get to see Edge in this exploit Clark, well, like one of Clark's weaknesses. And even though he's weak from the solar flare, we get to see Edge really want him to join him, and we get a very good exploitation out of this from Clark, because Clark's like, wait, no, you can't do that. And again, even Jordan was good in this. He wasn't in it as much, but still, his part that he played towards the end was actually, I thought, was good. We're starting to get to see his powers emerge more, and he's starting to get more control of it. So I can't wait to see what they do with him next. Basically, yeah, Edge in this episode forces Clark to make a decision or suffer the consequences. So there's a dire decision that Clark really has to make. And Edge is not backing down. Edge wants him on his side for some reason. We don't really know what it is. He's claiming it's he wished he had a brother. He always wished he had a brother, and that's why he wants him. But I think there's something more to it. Honestly, I think that that Superman is more powerful, in my opinion. And I think he wants him on his side so he doesn't have to worry about him. But that's the problem with bad guys. They always have to worry about somebody trying to unseat them from their seat of power, and it's great. And we even get to see Lois have to make a decision in this episode as well. After what happens with Superman, she has to make a decision, and we see what that decision is at the end of this episode. So this episode I thought was great. I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. I think the dialogue and the monologuing was a little bit too much in this, but it was still a really good episode. I can't wait to see next week's episode when it comes out. If you guys like what I do, please hit the like button and also subscribe. Take care for now, everybody.